Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to let you introduce yourself here in just a moment. So before we get started, wanted to cover a couple of housekeeping items for our guests who are joining us live today. Thank you for joining us for this Tuesday talk. Today, we're going to be visiting with our Chief Marketing Officer. And as I mentioned, I'll let her introduce herself just here in just a moment. But we love audience participation. So for our live listeners, if you hover either if it's at the bottom or top of your Zoom screen, there is a Q&A button. Click on that button, box will pop up and you can type in a question, even a box that you can click that says anonymous. So your name won't be attached to the question. But as we are visiting over the course of the next 30 minutes, don't be shy. Please type in a question. We love questions. It makes the conversation just flow easier, better. Great information. Very excited for the next 30 minutes to talk all things marketing with Right at Home. Okay, so Dawn, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Sure, thanks, Jen. Excuse me, I'm Dawn Drazdys, so I'm the Chief Marketing Officer. And what that means at Right at Home is I have a team of 20 fabulous people who do all sorts of marketing, anything from brand fund to corporate marketing to events. So all things brand.
Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. You already mentioned something that is an FAQ that we get often. You mentioned the term brand fund. So just want to, as I mentioned right out of the gate, just hitting you with a strong one here. Let's talk about the brand fund. Anybody who is listening to this call is interested in joining the Right at Home system. Series of questions and other things that we cover. 5% royalty that they pay, but there's also a 2% that goes towards the brand fund. So if you would please go ahead and just take a moment to describe what the brand fund is and how that 2% that they contribute is spent.
Yep, absolutely. So the brand fund was built honestly to strengthen the brand. So what does that mean? Well, a lot of people think, oh, it's just awareness of the brand and things like that. But actually, the brand fund has a no franchisee left behind policy. So any activity that we do to promote the brand has to be inclusive of all franchisees. So someone, say in Billings, Montana, is going to get the same amount of coverage that somebody maybe in New York gets. So Brand Fund has a lot of chutzpah. We start with two goals. One is awareness. The second one is lead generation. And those lead generation pieces not just focus on clients, it also focuses on caregivers because they are the governor to being able to bring on clients, and also to referral sources because referral sources are key. Those are those case managers and social workers and different people in local areas who can help you get clients, basically. So you want me to go deep into what some of the brand fund things are?
No, of course, yes, we'll eventually get to that, but I just
Okay.
wanted to really emphasize something that you just said. A lot of times when people think about brand fund and marketing dollars, they're thinking of, okay, so Right at Home is going to help with, getting clients. That's what marketing is, period. But what you just said is not only clients, but also those marketing dollars are spent to recruit, market, to find caregivers for the caregiver opportunity, as well as referral sources. So it's a trifecta. So just wanted to throw that out there because that's often at times something that people don't realize.
Yep,
It's more
absolutely
than just marketing to find clients.
correct.
Okay. Let's see here. A couple questions have come in here. When it comes to supporting franchisees and marketing their business locally, can you provide some insight into how that works? Because the brand fund, it sounds to me, is more so national marketing on a national level. So can you talk a little bit about local marketing and the franchisee's responsibility when it comes to spending some dollars at the local kind of store level?
Sure. So our brand fund is actually a kind of a combination of national and local. So what
Okay.
I mean by that, in the old timey days, it used to be that marketing was just kind of up here, and you'd see a brand spot, and you would think, "Oh, isn't that nice? I want to go work with that brand." So we still do television, and we do it nationally. So all of our markets receive television. That's a huge awareness medium. So if somebody tried to do local television, it might be very expensive depending on where their market is. So this way you are receiving television locally, but it's a national buy. Also, from a pay-per-click perspective, pay-per-click is hyper-local. So all of our campaigns run in each market locally within the territory zip codes that is owned by that particular location. So that's very, very hyper local. Social can be hyper local as well. Site retargeting, those type of things that we do are very hyper localized because television is awareness. The rest of these are to get leads, the rest of these tactics. So, what can somebody do locally? Brand Fund will never be able to support everyone's local efforts. So
Mhm.
we do have an incremental spend program that has been put in place with our agency so that if you say, you know what, when corporate's not running national, I want to run local television. Our agency will help you buy that national television, and then it will work in concert with what we're doing. The same with pay-per-click advertising. Lost impression share can be high in some markets. So Brand Fund is contributing a certain amount, but we have about 95 franchisees that are also doing incremental spend and contributing monthly on their own to continue to drive those leads. But we don't really dictate how you spend your local advertising. So when you're brand new, you might need to spend it on signage and brochures and just different things that you need to get the business running. And then as you grow, you might decide you want to focus on really getting referral sources right away, getting those power partners. So you might use some of that money to hire a salesperson to go out and hit the streets because that
Yep.
is something we can't do, right?
Yep. So I have a question. The incremental spend, you mentioned that we don't really dictate how they spend it, but is there recommendation on how much incremental spend a franchisee covers out of their own pocket?
Yeah, so we would encourage 2% of revenue is spent out of your pocket locally.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Got it. All right. A question came in while you were talking. It says, and I'll read it exactly. You didn't mention radio or streaming. Does Brand Fund pay for that?
So we have done streaming. So we do connected television. So I'll just so you know, we do streaming. So for those people who are cord cutters, we not only do regular cable broadcast, we also do streaming television. For radio, we have used radio in the past. The reach wasn't quite as great as we wanted to see. So we take it like a year at a time. So we have a strategic leadership council that is made up of our franchisees, and the franchisees bring recommendations for us to look at different things. So each year we look at the analysis of how well we've performed with our various tactics. And then we also look at some things that the system would like us to look at. And
Mhm.
we incorporate a total Marcom plan that way. And at the end of the day, we watch it every single day and we make determinations to stop, start, or find a new avenue. So
Mhm.
radio has been included. We do find it does better locally.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shifting gears just a little bit. This has to do with website and online marketing. So I want to talk
Sure.
about a couple of things there. We have a role here on staff called an online marketing specialist. So if you can describe the role of an OMS, we call them for short, if you can describe what an OMS does and how they support, just generally support our franchise system.
Absolutely. So the OMS is really your conduit. They need to be one of your best friends. What we'll do right away when you open up a business is we have a national website. The OMS will spin up your local website based on the national site. But then the goal is to really hyper localize. So what are your areas served? Some people want to put pricing on, most do not. What kind of jobs that you need to hire for will be out on that site as well. What are your services? Those are very important because services can vary in different territories with licensure and those type of things. And then the goal is to continually optimize that site. So behind the scenes, the OMS is doing a lot of technical SEO. So making sure you have no broken links, making sure that your images and your videos are optimized. All of these things help with SEO and organic search, page load time, all of those kind of wonderful things. The way they work with you is each month they will reach out with an initiative that they're working on. And the initiative could be, do you have a great, strong VA program? We want to make sure that we're featuring that on your website. Do you do anything locally with, the Alzheimer's Association? We want to make sure we're featuring that on your site. They also work to help you learn how to do some local social media, and they also help with blogs.
Okay. All right. So to recap what you just said, because this is a frequently asked question that we get. When a franchise owner first joins the system, we've got our main central website, but the online marketing specialist actually creates the franchise owner's local website.
Yep.
And then they work together to get that website set up and properly functioning with all of the, the images and the messaging and lead forms and things like that. So that is all done for them as they become a brand new franchise owner. And then routine maintenance moving forward and working together to grow the website and maintain it. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
We do not allow access to the site because backend site core is what our site is built on. And I don't know very many people who are site core developers. So we handle that for you. You do not have to worry about being any kind of a developer.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about social media because that's a pretty big part of our normal now. So help me understand how Right at Home uses social media to grow the network, and specifically what the relationship is between the franchise owner's responsibility when it comes to their own social media. Does the online marketing specialist help with that? So just help me paint that picture of how that works between the franchise owner and their specific social media and how they use it to get more business.
Okay, so we have to think of things in two ways, paid and organic. So let's talk about paid first. From a brand fund perspective, we use social media for two main things. One is for prospecting, and the other is for, I should say for three. So prospecting, site retargeting, and then we also use it to promote CEU webinars, which are continuing education webinars geared toward referral sources. So we will do paid campaigns that way. From the incremental spend program, once you have, I would say, start with pay-per-click. If you would like to start anywhere with incremental spend, start with pay-per-click. Once you're comfortable level with a budget there, I move into social media because social media is another area where you can do some incremental spend to get leads, especially for caregivers. So that would be the second step. We kind of handle all of that for you from a national perspective, and then the agency works with you again on the incremental spend. From an organic side, which is non-paid, we have a social media specialist who will help you set up a Facebook page if you don't know how. We have a parent-child relationship with Facebook, which means as the corporation, we have the parent relationship and all the franchise are the children. So we can post to Facebook pages, and we do 3 times a week on your behalf. Then we ask that you post 2 times a week locally, because local content is very important. So what we're posting is more a national feel, and then locally would be maybe some things that you're doing in the local market, having a job fair, maybe you're putting on a CEU webinar, or doing some different things in your market. So we ask that you do that. That's just in Facebook. Instagram will not allow us to do a parent-child. So we post nationally, and you can share on your Instagram page, and you can post as well. LinkedIn also does not allow us to do it, and most owners want to run their own LinkedIn page, but we do run LinkedIn nationally as well, and we do a lot with YouTube nationally.
Okay, got it. Thank you. The question came in while you were talking. It says,
Yeah.
will my online marketing specialist rewrite my post so it is keyword friendly for me?
So if your online marketing specialist really is a coach, so they will coach you. Yes, of course, they will help you, but the online marketing specialist does not post, does not do your local posts. So you can call them up and say, here's what I'm saying, or email them and say, here's what I'm thinking. And they can say, hey, maybe you should add some of these. Now you will start to learn what your keywords are, because we'll help you, right? The idea is to coach. So during Right Start, we help you with those things so you can start to learn to put those in your posts. But their role is to coach you with social media.
Okay, got it. All right, couple more questions that have come in. This one, and I'll read it exactly as it's written. What does your team do to market a brand new franchisee?
Okay, so right away when you first start, you will get a kit. The kit has a certain dollar value, and that will contain things that you need to start up. So some initial brochures, stationery. You work with the team on what you need, and that's what you'll get. You'll also be working through Right Start with them. So once you leave here, there are stages. So hey, what's your signage going to look like? We'll be happy to approve that signage, send you some, style guidelines and those type of things to help you through all of that. As soon as your doors open, your brand fund starts rolling. So your pay-per-click starts, your paid social starts. You have access to our digital asset manager brand, which is really all the brand program creative, so that you have access to that. I think I said pay-per-click and display start. All of that starts rolling for you. We also have programs with caring.com. Those leads start flowing. All of that starts. Let me see. What was the second part of the question?
Yep, no, it just says, what does your team do to market a brand new franchisee?
So the other thing we do is we have a PR company. They're called Mainland. They're out of Chicago. So they'll work with you as well to get you press. So, you're a new owner in a market, you're going to be employing people, you're going to be serving seniors. So they work to get you press. We also have a ton of resources that might help you if you wanted to do an open house, you wanted to try to get the mayor of your town to come, or the chamber to come do ribbon cuttings and those type of things. So we can help you through that.
Okay, perfect. And that was a perfect question for the audience that we have. That's a question that it's usually asked on our discovery days. So thank you for asking that question and your wonderful answer. Okay. How does your team market caregivers specifically?
Okay. So caregivers is an interesting thing. So from a marketing perspective, the way we market is we will do pay-per-click advertising toward caregivers. We also do some social media advertising toward the caregiver audience. On the other side of things, HR and the employee experience team will work with you more from a hiring, recruiting, what are the best practices? Should you be working with Indeed, ZipRecruiter, those type of things? So that employee experience team works with you on that and then works with you on retention. But the way our brand fund is set up is when you start, you have a bucket of money that goes to caregiver and a bucket that goes to client. And then you're able to turn on and off those buckets, move it all to client, move it all to caregiver, depending on your need, or half and half, or a third and 2/3. You get to determine where you want that spend, because in some areas people don't have caregiver issues, recruiting issues, not very many, but once they fill the pipe, then they want to go and turn it to client.
Okay, got it. And you mentioned this earlier that your OMS acts as a coach, really. So, will the franchise owner be working really closely with their online marketing specialist as to how to best spend those dollars? Because you said, you can, to kind of turn it this way or this way, just looking for some clarity on when a franchise owner is trying to decide how to best spend their dollars, especially as a brand new franchise owner who doesn't have any home care experience. They're starting from scratch. I'm looking for, like, where do they start and what's the best use of their dollars right out of the gate, and then how to identify when to make a switch.
Okay, so really,
I asked like 5 questions in that one statement right there, but go for it.
Really, where that decision needs to be made is more from a pay-per-click perspective. So TV is running, and TV is going to TV streaming, etc. YouTube, we're on YouTube as well. Those are already dictated. We have a whole channel that's or a whole campaign that runs for caregiver, whole campaign that runs for client. So you don't have to worry about that. From a pay-per-click perspective, one would think right out of the gate, you'd want to be going to both. So we set it at a 75-25, meaning we spend 75 on client, 25 on caregiver percent, okay, of the pay-per-click budget. This is because most people also have jobs posted on their website. They're also maybe doing some things with ZipRecruiter, Indeed, those type of things. So that's where we have it set. Now, if your bucket is full from a client perspective and you need caregivers, each month you have the ability to turn that on and off. So really, it's your temperature. What does it look like in your office? Do you have a wait list? You better get some caregivers. If you have a wait list for clients, if you have too many caregivers because maybe you lost some clients, then you gotta weigh that funnel there. And so the recruit, really, it's at the office level and what the temperature is. The online marketing specialist doesn't tell you that.
Okay, got it. So you mentioned ZipRecruiter and Indeed. Are there any others that we use, or are those the two main ones? And is it some franchise owners use both, or it's just one? So just looking for some insight into, third party relationships that we have that help with caregiver recruitment.
So we use an ATS. We use Apploy. We do have franchise owners who use Hireology. We do have some people who use Career Plug, those type of things. That's more of an applicant tracking system. Again, we have pay-per-click that we're using to attract caregivers to apply locally. And then some do choose Indeed, tends to be the biggest. We also have a pilot program going on right now with My CNA Jobs. Based on that program and how well it performs, it may be open up system wide, but we have My CNA has a local track as well. And so we do have a lot of owners who are on that local track and not part of the pilot testing for an enterprise track that we're working on. So My CNA also helps flow those applicants.
Okay. I learned a lot of new things today, Dawn.
It's continuous. A lot of balls in the air. We have a lot of fun in marketing, but it gives me some gray hair once in a while.
Okay. Are there any new things that you guys are working on? And I know You're like, yes, Jen, you know that we do. But it's just something that we talk about all the time on the franchise development team, and something that we talk a lot about with prospects is that this is the type of business that's constantly changing. And we as a company are constantly evolving and adapting and growing and thinking about the future. So just looking for some insight from our chief marketing officer on some of the future things that are on your radar for us to consider now as we look ahead to future growth.
Yeah, you were right. We're always looking at things, and it's very interesting because people really want to run out and be like, oh, we got to do TikTok, we got to do this, and we got to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever the newest is. And so I sometimes feel that it's good to be the settler and maybe not the explorer, and kind of see what happens. So from a TikTok perspective, for example, the amount of production and the amount of videos that a local owner would have to do to get on TikTok to try to recruit is insane. And the time and talent that it would take is just insane. So we don't really usually encourage that, because you can hire better other ways and more qualified candidates other ways. Right now, we have a big focus on organic. So paid, I think we have a lot of paid under control. Organic, our OMS team for the last year and a half have been doing all sorts of things to optimize the local sites. And we've seen a 25% increase in organic traffic to the site, which means it's not paid for, right? Somebody is searching for care, and we're delivering up, and we're getting in the top area where we want to be. So a lot of focus there. So part of that is really focusing on YouTube to be blunt. I mean, our YouTube channel has been a place where a lot of people will house their videos. But YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and we need to use it as a search engine. So we have a big focus right now for third and fourth quarter on really getting YouTube optimized.
Okay, perfect. Another question for you. We have something here called a strategic leadership council.
We do.
And it's important to people who join the right at home system. And I think in any franchise system, it can be argued when a franchise owner joins a system and they're part of that system, they still want to be able to have a voice of some kind, to be heard, like, hey, I've got a great idea. Hey, have you ever thought of this? And we do that here at Right at Home through our strategic leadership council. So are there any ideas or things that come from the SLC? We call it, for sure. We have acronyms for everything here. So with the SLC, are there any great ideas that come from the SLC or that come from our franchise owners as it pertains to marketing and the things that we do to market right at home services, or to market to find caregivers? Just looking for how are our franchise owners heard when they come up with ideas or things, creative ideas to drive more business?
Yep, absolutely. So as part of the Strategic Leadership Council, so first of all, for all you listening, it is an elected position. It's done regionally, so you get to elect one of your peers that you think will represent you well. So in your region, you'll have that person, and you can feed any questions up through that person. Challenge them, challenge us. You can always feed it up to me too. It doesn't have to be just the Strategic Leadership Council, but the council then is divided into sub task forces. Task forces. Task force I don't know. I'm an English major. I should know this. Anyway, it is divided, and we do have a marketing task force. And the goal of the marketing task force is really to help guide. So I may put together, Brooke on my team, she's the VP of National Marketing. She may put together the brand fund strategy for the year, but they guide that as well. So if we say, here's our recommendations, and they're like, nope, you don't have enough in the pay-per-click area. I don't want to see any money going to trade publications because they're not important anymore. We will then get the numbers, and we'll work through those numbers, and we come to a consensus, and that happens every year in October. And then if we make any changes to the brand fund, maybe we want to invest in something new and it's not working, or it is working, we want to invest more. We have meetings with them every month and we talk to them about here's what we're seeing and here's the changes we want to make. So again, have great ideas come from our system. Heck yeah. We used to have a partnership that went a little sour based on new ownership with the partnership. That business has now been sold and the franchisees want us to take another look at it from a client referral perspective. Yep. And we have, and it will most likely be worked into our program next year because we are seeing some great results. So,
okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And it's time flies when you're having fun.
Talk all day about marketing.
Yes. Yes. But all joking aside, Dawn, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you. I know our listeners appreciate it as well. I love doing these phone calls. It's so informative for our listeners and the people who are interested in joining the Right at Home system. Do you have any final parting thoughts before we hang up here?
I just think if you are considering franchising, you are buying into a brand with almost 30 years of solid brand reputation and a solid brand affinity. And that's really important because it's something, if you just went out and did this locally all by yourself, that you wouldn't get right away. So there's a ton of support and then that brand affinity.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you.
All
right. Have a wonderful day. And thanks again, Dawn.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.